Good afternoon and welcome to everyone joining us for this quarter's Juris Tuesday topic webinar, Client Matter Intake Module, Streamline, Adding Clients and Matters to Juris. Our featured guest speaker is Teresa Waters. She is a Juris Professional Services Consultant. She has been with the RELEX family of companies for 5 years, joining the Juris Professional Services team in early 2020. Teresa has a BS in Business Administration Accounting from Columbia College, as well as a master's in Forensic Accounting from Webster University. Teresa has over 20 years of experience with accounts receivable and billing processes, as well as forecasting and data analysis. My name is Rhonda Burkett. I am a professional services consultant for Juris as well, and I will be your host for today's session. Tuesday topic webinars are complimentary to our Juris customers and have been designed to help you get the most from your Juris software by providing you with the time-saving tips and best practices for using Juris. The format for today's webinar is the presentation provided by Teresa, which will be followed by a question and answer period. All of our attendees will be in listen-only mode for the duration of our presentation. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to ask them via the questions pane located on your webinar control panel. During the last 15 minutes of the webinar, Teresa will answer your questions. Please note that we are recording today's event and all attendees will receive an email within 1 week with a link to the recording and any slides that Teresa will use. Also, there is a brief survey at the end of our webinar today that we ask you to please take a moment to complete. Your feedback will help us in planning our future events. Teresa, at this time, I will turn the webinar over to you.
Thank you, Rhonda. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our Tuesday topic to introduce you to our new Juris module, Client Matter Intake. I am Teresa Waters, Juris Professional Services Consultant, and will be presenting to you along with our host and my teammate, Rhonda Burkett. The Client Matter Intake module is an add-on to Juris that allows users to quickly enter new clients and matters into Juris without logging in using default settings and other time-saving options. It allows you to enter information to a single form instead of switching from screen to screen in Juris. As anyone who has entered a new client knows, it can be a tedious process. You have to go to multiple tabs to input information, making sure to click on each tab, even if you don't have information to put onto it. If you skip a tab or try to save on the first tab, you get the error message. It's a manual process where you have to use the drop-downs on various tabs to input information that may be standard or widely used between clients, such as fee and expense schedules and bill formats. Only after you have visited every tab will Juris allow you to save and have access to entering additional information. Then you have to access each of the folders to enter billing addresses, a consolidation, or a matter. Once you are finally able to access matter entry, you have to go through all of the tabs that may or may not be necessary again. The whole process can take up to 15 minutes entering in Juris Core. The Client Matter Intake module takes away all of that needless clicking through tabs and makes the process short and simple, reducing time spent on client intake by 2/3. The Client Matter Intake module is very easy to use. You can now enter a client and a matter in 5 minutes or less. Not only are all of the fields in one place, many of them are pre-populated with required information. Additionally, data integrity is protected by reducing manual entry errors. The module can be easily installed once it's delivered with no downtime or IT interruption and is accessible directly from the user's desktop. Although a tiered service plan isn't required to purchase the module, it's customizable, which does require the use of TSP hours. Once the module is purchased, it is a very quick and easy install to any computer where Juris is also installed. A link is provided to the installation file, which must be saved and extracted. The first time the module is used, it must be activated using the activation code received from fulfillment. You simply copy and paste the code and then activate. For those who are going to be using the module regularly, we recommend having the shortcut added to your desktop so it's easily accessible. When you open the module, you will likely only have one database here for selection. So you will select the radio button to add client or add matter, and then hit the run button, where you will be prompted for your user ID and password. Logging into the module does not impact your user count, but it is case sensitive for both the user ID and password. Once you have logged in, you will be taken to the input form. Here is the client matter or the client intake form in its entirety. It's kind of difficult to see here, so we're going to break it down into sections to give you a better view. You can see, though, that some of the fields are pre-populated. Also, any fields that are blue are optional, although they may be a business requirement for your firm. Fields in black are required to enter the new client. As you complete the client intake form, you should review field values that auto-populated when the module opened to confirm the accuracy of those fields and to make any necessary changes. The first field on the client intake form will be the client code. If your firm uses numeric codes, the next available number will pre-populate. If your firm uses alphanumeric codes, you will need to enter the appropriate code, which will be validated to confirm it's not a duplicate and that it follows your formatting and character limitations. Next is the client nickname, which will auto-populate the reporting name, which is the field after it. As I mentioned a moment ago, the fields shown in blue, source of business, phone and fax numbers, and contact name are optional fields. They are not required to enter a client into the module, but may be required based on your firm's procedures and needs. The date opened will default to the current date, but there is a dropdown if that's not correct. You will see that the office code, practice class, billing timekeeper, and originator have pre-populated. Check these fields to confirm if the information is correct. If any changes need to be made, you can use the appropriate dropdowns. When choosing the originator, you'll specify the percentage for each, making sure that they total 100%. The next section of the form is where you can select the responsible timekeeper, as well as some billing options. For any fields that have a checkbox next to them, you must first mark the box to activate it, and then you can use the dropdown to select the correct entry. Otherwise, it will not save the information that is input to that field. This is going to apply to the responsible timekeeper as well as the task and expense code cross-reference fields. The task and expense code XREF fields will only allow you to select them if your firm has these set up in Juris. When selecting the billing agreement, you will not see the option to include expenses unless flat fee is selected from the dropdown. Fee and expense schedules, as well as bill and pre-bill layouts, are assigned using the dropdowns for each. On this portion of the form, you can add a billing address as well as enable budgeting. You can also check the box to require activity codes as well as set tax exemptions. You can also check the box at the top to create a consolidation. If the box is checked, the data entered will be established for the client and assigned to matters. You simply check that box, then you add the name you would like to call the consolidation. The last section of the intake form allows you to select the billing frequencies for both fees and expenses. If quarterly, annual, or semi-annual are selected, the month box appears. If cycle is selected, then the cycle box appears for you to enter that cycle. If you have discount or surcharge information set up in firm options, then you will see those fields and use the dropdowns to set those appropriately. The last field here allows for input of interest days as well as the percentage rate to be charged. At the very bottom of the form, you'll see buttons where additional information can be added. The first is client billing fields. You'll click the button to open the window and define client billing fields if your firm uses custom billing. The view here can be different as the form changes depending on how many billing fields you have defined. If your firm uses UDFs or user design fields and they are configured in your Juris database, you can click the UDFs button to open a new window and populate any user design fields that may be required. Additionally, you can add a note card to the client by selecting the Add Note Card button. You enter text directly into the Add Note Card pop-up screen to record your note card. When you have completed the form, you're going to click Create Client, and the data will be verified. If no issues are found, the client's added. If any problems are detected, a prompt will display for you to indicate what the issue is so that you can fix those issues and then get the client submitted successfully. After the client is successfully added, you are given the option to add a matter for the client. If you select yes, the matter intake form opens. If you select no, the client intake form refreshes so that you can add another new client. You are not required to enter a new matter at this time. If you select no, it's just going to refresh and let you go to the next client. When you are ready to enter a matter, you can log into the module, selecting the Add Matter radio button, or after completion of entering a client. The matter intake form is very similar to the client intake form with pre-populated fields. Again, any fields that are blue are optional. The ones that are black, you have to enter. So you also want to make sure that you're going to check any pre-populated fields to make sure that those are correct. The first field here is for the client code, which you can input manually or you can use the ellipses to search for the client. When you enter a client code and tab out of the field, many fields on the form are going to auto-populate from the information that you entered on the client. Next is the matter code. This should populate the next available matter code. You can also use the lookup ellipses next to the matter code field in case you need to see existing matters and make sure that you're not duplicating. As with the client intake form, the reporting name is going to populate with whatever's entered to the nickname field. And again, be sure to check those auto-populated fields for accuracy as it applies to the new matter. In the next section, most fields are going to be pre-populated from the client code. If any fields need to be changed, you can use the drop-downs to do so. For any drop-downs with checkboxes next to them, you must check that box first. I did mention that on the client intake form, but you do have to check that box before you make your selection. Otherwise, it's not going to save your selection. The task and XREF codes can only be selected. Those are set up in Juris. And then the bill and pre-bill layouts are going to auto-populate, but you can use the drop-downs to change those if necessary. Again, for the billing agreement, the option to include expenses won't be visible unless you select flat fee. If you select retainer, new fields will appear for the retainer type selection as well as the amount. And fee and expense schedules can be changed if needed using the drop-downs. For the billing address, you can check the box to choose an existing address, which will activate the drop-down, or you can enter a new address in contact. If you do select the checkbox, anything entered in the address field afterward will be ignored. It's going to retain the address selection from the drop-down. So if you're going to type in a new address, you want to make sure that you don't have that checked. At the bottom of this section, you can enable budgeting, require activity codes, and set your tax exemptions by selecting the boxes next to those options. If you created a consolidation for this client, you can check the box at the top of the form next to use a consolidation. It will then allow you to select a consolidation from the drop-down. The last section of the matter intake form is where you can select your fee and expense frequency. Just like the client intake form, if you select quarterly, a month box will appear for you to select which month the first billing should be done. If you select cycle, a cycle box is going to show up for you to assign the cycle this matter should be billed in. Additionally, the discount and surcharge fields do not appear unless they are set up in Core Juris. If your firm charges interest, you can set how many days before interest is charged, as well as populate the interest rate. As with the client intake form, you can also add billing fields, UDFs, and note cards from here. Okay, once you've entered all of your data and you select Create Matter, it's going to verify your data. And again, if you have any issues, it's going to let you know that there's a problem and what you need to correct. If not, it's going to create your matter. At the top of the client intake form, you will see form and data selections. Form allows you to switch between client and matter intake forms, as well as exit the module. Data allows you to save the current form as a template for reuse. Manage previously saved templates, as well as clear the form to remove all data and return to defaults. As I just mentioned, the module allows you to save templates for reuse. Using templates can help to save time when entering repetitive information and protect from manual data entry errors. Templates are created using the client intake form and saving for reuse. Each user can create, modify, and save their own templates. To create a template, you're going to select the appropriate values on the client intake form. Once all of the information is entered, you will go to Data, Save as Template. And this is going to pop up a box where you can enter the name you would like to assign to the template and then select OK to save. Once you have templates saved in the module, they can be used, modified, set as the default to load when the form is opened, or renamed from the Manage Templates menu. That menu is accessed under Data, Manage Templates. The Template Manager window will open, showing a list of all templates saved for the user. You will highlight the appropriate template on the left and then select your action on the right. Load will populate the client matter intake form with values from the selected template. Modify will allow you to change the template settings. Rename brings up a box allowing you to change the name of the template. Selecting Make Default will make the selected template the default when opening the module. Clear Default will remove that template from being the default when the module is open. Deleting will delete the selected template, and Go Back will close the template manager and return the user to the client intake form. So now that you have an idea of how the client matter intake module works, I would like to take a quick minute to again point out the advantages. It shortens the client matter intake process by putting all fields into one place, so you don't have to click through multiple tabs to enter information. With use of pre-populated fields and templates, it can protect data integrity by reducing entry errors. Templates are easily managed and edited, and the module can be customized for our TSP members. Again, a tiered service plan is not required to purchase the module, but it can only be customized for your firm if you are a TSP member. Here's some additional information regarding the module. Your firm must be on at least Juris version 261 or higher in order to use the module. If you are on a version lower than 261 and wish to purchase the module, you will need to upgrade first. This is a for-purchase module and a very simple install, but an activation code is required, and that will be provided by LN Fulfillment once the module is purchased. For those users who will enter a large number of clients and matters regularly, they can place the icon on their desktop for easy access. When you are logged into the module, it has no impact on the user count in Juris. And I have included some links here that may be useful to you regarding the module. The first link will direct you to additional information on the module, including the install and user guides. And since you do need to be on 261 or higher, we've included some links to information on our most recent release of Juris, which will provide information on system requirements, what's new in the release, and release notes. If you are interested in purchasing the module, you can contact Kendra Gephardt via telephone or email as listed here for pricing, or you can reach out to your professional services consultants for additional information if you're a member of our tiered services plan. Our next Tuesday topic presentation will be on August 16th, presented by Kimberly Britton, Senior Consultant. Kimberly will be providing information on Juris Suite 3+ reporting, including how to use new parameters and understanding the report folder structure. Additionally, there are some webinars scheduled this year. Kathy Baker, Senior Consultant, will be covering the importance of firm setup on September 14th. And on November 16th, Kimberly Britton and myself will hold Juris office hours, which gives you an opportunity to submit questions in advance. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today to learn about the module, and we will now be able to address any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Teresa, for a very informative and helpful session. This does conclude the presentation portion of our webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them via the questions pane located on your webinar control panel.
If purchased, would it need to be purchased for each individual user, or will it be blanketed for the whole account? I do not know the answer to that, but I know that Kendra or Michelle may be able to provide the response for that.
I believe it's for the whole account. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
This is Michelle. I believe it's for the whole account. It's not per license, but there is a structure with it, however, based, I believe, how many licenses are in place. And, you know, Kendra is the best person to ask about that. But it's
Kendra indicated that it is that it's overall. You don't have to purchase each separately. Perfect. And that the cost is based on the license size.
Then I was correct. Yay.
Yay. Thank you very much for stepping in. Yes, purchase is for the whole account and is based on license size. When is it best to use consolidation when entering info in Juris? That's going to be when you have a client that has requested consolidated billing. That's the only time you should use that. If you need have additional questions about consolidated billing, we can certainly help answer those. Can you enter a specific matter number instead of using the next matter number? Yes, you can. If purchased and one user wanted to use it the new way, but someone wanted to keep doing the old way, would that be possible? Yes, that would be possible. You're still going to have the ability to enter as you normally would. Rhonda, are you able to see if I'm missing any questions here?
No, you're not. Kendra just made a comment.
Module is for new clients or new matters on existing clients.
Yeah. You've got them all so far.
It's the last one I see, at least.
This one says, for the auto-generated parts, if I made a new matter, say matter 3, that had a lot of the same info as matter 0 through 2, would I need to make a template or would it auto-generate like in the old system?
It's going to auto-generate based on the client information. So you could actually save a template and then have that, and then use that template for each new matter.
Okay. That concludes today's webinar. I would like to thank Teresa once again for her expert advice on today's session, and to all of our attendees for taking time out of your busy day to join us and to give back. Attendees will be eligible for a special 10% off to use towards Juris Client Matter Intake Module. Just reach out to your account managers to find out how you can take advantage of the discount. I have a few quick follow-up reminders. All attendees will receive an email within 1 week with a link to a recording of today's webinar, as well as any slides Teresa used for her presentation. In closing, there's a brief survey at the end of our webinar today that we ask you to please take a moment to complete. Your feedback will help us in planning our future webinars. Thank you all for your time today. I hope everyone has a great day.